Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Life as an Aspie with me, Natalie Sherlock. So, today I'm going to be talking to you about sleep, autism and sleep. Now, getting to sleep is something that a lot of people on the spectrum struggle with, especially children. So if you're a zombie mum out there who is currently just a complete mess because your child won't go to sleep, then stick around because I can help. So, this video will be in two separate parts, if you like. One will focus on tips for helping children to sleep, and then the other will be the grown-ups. So, because I know a lot of adults struggle with it as well. So let's just get straight into it. The tip number one I have for you is a routine. So you need to establish a good, solid, reliable sleep routine or nightly routine. Of course, many people on the spectrum already have a routine for the day, so they know. So we know what we're doing every minute of every day, so we don't get confused or scared or lose control or whatever. Because routines are so important to people on the autism spectrum. So, but a lot of people kind of neglect the bedtime kind of situation. So if you have a child that likes playing with their devices, then that can be one of the reasons why they can't sleep, because devices give off what they call blue light, and it reduces the melatonin. I'm getting technical here. Melatonin is the hormone that helps you go to sleep. So because there is less melatonin due to this blue light, the children can't get to sleep. So what I would suggest is making sure that you limit your child's iPad or screen time, and make sure that, maybe let them have like half an hour between 7:30 or 7 and 7:30. Well, depending on how old the child is. And I'm going to put up, you'll see on the screen in a second, a chart for the age of children and when they should get to sleep and how many hours of sleep they should have. So, depending on that, you can work it out, as to when to give that screen time. But make sure that you enforce that half an hour only rule. It's going to be difficult, they're going to kick and scream and whatever, but once they get used to it, also explain to them what's going to happen first, and then before you implement new changes to their routine, you have to tell them first, and make sure that you sort of do it in a nice way, speak to them nicely. If they start to get anxious or annoyed or angry, then you can just calm them down, speak softly to them, say, well, this is going to help you sleep, and and you can relate it to a special interest of theirs. So for example, I don't know about anyone else, but when I was about 9, I was obsessed with pirates. And a fact about pirates is that they always went to bed at 8 o'clock. So if you've got a child obsessed with pirates, you can say, well, pirates went to bed at 8 o'clock. So they'll think, oh, brilliant, I must get to bed at 8 o'clock. Because then I can be a proper pirate, like a real pirate. So, obviously, without the pillaging and on the high seas and whatever. Anyway, so, you've got to, make it tie in. And maybe, play a game with them. Maybe alternate between screen time and board games. Because like or like educational games, like things that will teach them. You know, make sure that your child is learning. If your child's child has communication issues, then you could like play a communication game with them before they go to bed. That's good because it will, you know, they will sort of start remembering it and stuff. So, sorry, I'm fluffing my words. So that is tip number 1, to have a good solid schedule. Yeah, and make sure that you like, you know, you have bath or shower time, brush teeth time, go to sleep time. See, and like read them stories. It's always good to read children's stories, but make sure, and they will always want more stories. So make sure once you've I'm going to read 5 pages of this book, and then you're going to go to sleep. And then once the 5 pages are up, that's it. Put the book down. You must enforce what you tell them. And if you have, so moving on to tip number 2. Tip number 2 is the room. So you have to have the temperature right in the room, because, you know, especially in this day, like today, it's so hot, and it's really difficult to get to sleep for anyone to get to sleep when it's too hot. So there are several things that you can do. I recommend investing in a wall thermometer so that you can actually know when the temperature is too high. A lot of people on the spectrum have sensory processing difficulties, and part of that is hot and cold. So some children or some adults will not be able to tolerate too much heat. Some will not be able to tolerate too much cold. So the ideal temperature for a room is 21 degrees Celsius. So if you invest in a thermometer, a wall thermometer, then you will know. Or you can get like digital ones these days. Everything's modernised these days. You can get digital ones that tell you exactly what temperature it is and everything. So if the room temperature goes above 21 degrees, then you can cool it down by investing in a fan. And if you're frightened that your child is going to hurt him or herself on the propellers, worry not, because there are now fans without propellers. Like I think Dyson do some. Not sponsored, but of course, Dyson, if you do want to sponsor me, hit me up. Yeah, unlikely, but yeah, no, it's worth a try. So yeah, you can have those fans that have no propellers, so the child is safe and cool. Another thing about another tip so consider this tip 2.0. or tip 2B. So like this is to do with lighting and the colours on the wall. So when I was a child, I had to sleep in my mum's room because of my seizures. So I had to sleep in her room, and her room was yellow, and I had awful times getting to sleep in that room. I think it was the colour of the wall. I do actually think it was the colour of the wall, because when I went into my grandma and granddad's bedroom, which is always what I did when I couldn't sleep, I used to sleep hop into their bed. Bless them. Yeah, it used to send me off, and then I would go back into mum through. So I think it was the colour on the wall, and also children like that do also suffer from epilepsy, because I know it is a common comorbidity. Mine was due to other stuff, but we won't go. That's another story for another day. But so I recommend having light, cool colours. Avoid yellow on the wall, and avoid anything too dark or too bright, like red. Like red's not a good colour to have on a wall. So soft colours, and also also light. So children that are sensitive to light will want everything completely dark. So this really does, sort of depend on the individual child, because some children are scared of the dark. That's perfectly normal, and I didn't like the dark. I still don't like the dark. I don't like it pitch black. I have to have a light on somewhere. So night lights are good, but you can also get things like lava lamps or calming. I mean, lava lamps are a bit dangerous, they get hot. But you can get these very cheap strips of LED lights that change colour. So that can help them drift off. It can be calming, soothing, help them drift off to sleep. So tip number 3, if your child is, now lots of children about the age of 3 to 5 are afraid of monsters or something, and I would, if your child is saying, oh, there's a monster in my room, I think one of the worst things you can say is, oh, stop being silly, because to the child, what they're experiencing is real. It might not be real in real life, but to the child, it's real. So, don't say you're being silly. Just say, well, I can't actually check check under the bed, show them that there's no monster there. Check in their closet, no monster there. And just in case, just to make doubly sure, you can make some monster spray, anti-monster spray. So anti-monster spray is just a mixture of lavender oil, lemon juice and water, and you spray it in the areas all over the room, and you can spray it in on their, a little bit on their pillow, not too much, and you can it does 2 things. You can say to them, look, this stuff keeps monsters away. Monster will not touch you if you have this spray. But also, it contains lavender, which is calming and helps sleep. So, a win-win scenario. And they feel like they're being treated seriously, and they don't, obviously, we know, us adults know, that there aren't any monsters in reality, but it's very important for a child, especially on the autistic spectrum, to be listened to. So you can try rationalising it. You can say, oh, it's not a monster, look, it's your coat or something. Because I know when I was 2, this wasn't actually in my bedroom. We had a through lounge in my old house, the through lounge light was off, the dining room light was off and the living room light was on, and I genuinely thought that it was a monster, but it wasn't. It was my pedal pushers. I wore them to bed. Anyway, so a lot of children do have trouble with that sort of thing. And if your child has trouble with nightmares, you can, there's quite a few things you can do. You can have a white noise machine or like a dream machine, so it plays sounds when you're, or like apps on the, you know, obviously it's not really a good idea to have like a phone near them because they will want to play with it, but yeah, so I'm sure there's like, I may be making this up, but I'm sure there are like little machines that you can get that actually play certain noises that like when you're asleep and you hear them, your brain makes a dream out of that. So, you know, and they're positive noises, you know, bird song, like trickling water, and all that. So it's, you know, really good. Okay, I think that's just about it for the children. I think we should move on to the grown-ups now. So, tip number one for adults getting to sleep is the same as tip number one for the kids. Have a routine. Make sure that you're not using too much of your devices. And the blue light thing, you can actually turn, like on the settings or on the settings on the phone, you can like dial it down so it's not as bright, because that really does make a difference. And also, like if you're sensitive to light and you like it pitch black, then you can like wear a sleep mask. We'll consider that tip number two, shall we? Tip number two, where you can wear a sleep mask. Some people don't like them, some people find them scary. I find them quite scary, actually. So, you know, don't use them if you're claustrophobic or like, don't like things touching your face. You know, yeah. Another trick is weighted blankets. Tip 3 is weighted blankets, which also comes into the category of children as well. You can have weighted blankets for children. I just didn't want to repeat myself too much. So, if you don't know what they are basically blankets that have sort of beads in them, so they're heavier, and you can, depending upon your personal preference, you can have them light to quite heavy. So like there's different like weights of weighted blankets. So and what else? I'm trying to think. I think that is about it. So yeah, I hope this helps you get to sleep, both your children and yourself. And yeah, good luck, goodbye, God bless, and continue being awesome.